Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. We're going to get you ready for LSU and Grambling. Brian Kelly had a couple different media availabilities yesterday, met with the press, and his final availability in terms of a press conference, and had his coach's show last night. And he spoke to what this game means for college football tradition in the state of Louisiana.
I think it speaks to the proud tradition of college football in the state of Louisiana. To have, a national championship team in LSU and another championship team at the FBS level in Grambling, and the great history of Grambling. For those two teams playing in the state of Louisiana, I think it says a lot about, the state of football in Louisiana. You can argue about all the different rivalries, in-state rivalries. To have all of that in the state of Louisiana, you feel a sense of pride when it comes to college football in the state of Louisiana.
I think there is something to be said for that. I think that LSU playing Southern last year was cool for the city of Baton Rouge. I've now lived here as long as I lived in Shreveport. And I understand how important Southern is to a segment of Baton Rouge. And I know how important LSU is to a lot of people in Baton Rouge. And to bring those two together, despite the ridiculous traffic that it created, was a cool thing one time. And if you're going to play Southern, I think playing Grambling is just fine. If I had it my way, you'd probably stay away from the FCS teams. That includes McNeese. That includes Northwestern State. That includes Nichols, who you'll see here next year. I think that's just too drastic. I'd rather keep those games to Louisiana Tech, Louisiana Lafayette. Going to play Tulane. It's okay to do it once, but I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke today and tell you about what a great opportunity this is for LSU's football team on the field. I alluded to this a little bit earlier, that you can't draw anything from passing game efficiency, run game efficiency, pass rush, coverage skills. You can't draw anything positive from this game against Grambling. It's too drastic a talent discrepancy. It's just too big. However, I will tell you, as I said yesterday, that this is an okay spot for LSU's psyche, and it's then their coaching staff. I was in the building earlier this morning, did my assistant coach interview. Joe Sloan will be on the pregame show coming up tomorrow, and had a conversation in the building just about, hey, this is something that's going to be off the record because it's not something that you would put out in the media. But I was talking to somebody over there, and I said, what do you think about this spot? Tough week last week. You're going to be able to get some new guys in. I was listening to BK on the coach's show, and he had some things to say about guys that you'll see in the game. And he said, these games are important. I think it's important for the guys to go out and have some fun. I think it's important for the guys, some new guys, to go out there and play and get their first action. Like, these games are important in the course of a college football season. And you may not agree with that. And I shared that, hey, I don't have to pay for season tickets. Okay, I don't. I walk in for free. I'm honored to work with the LSU Sports Radio Network. It's a dream of mine, and I understand that one of the perks of that job, and I don't get to tailgate. I don't get to go to road games. I mean, there are some drawbacks to it, but one of the pros is I don't have to spend money on tickets. And I know that there are lots of you, thousands of you listening that don't really want to watch 62-7, and that I totally understand. And I can't quite relate to that because I don't spend my hard-earned money like you do on it. But just from a football perspective, I do think there's a little bit of value in the guys going out there and just having some fun and going to get a win. Even though, as I said, I don't think there's a lot that we, the fans and the media that cover the team, can draw from it. One thing that we can draw is personnel decisions. And Brian Kelly, very candidly last night, gave you one about Lance Hurd.
The plan is to get him in, certainly, with the first unit and see how that mix goes as well. And look, I think part of it was, to take an offensive tackle going against Florida State's defensive ends didn't seem to be the smartest thing to do in week one. But, I think in week two, I think this is a good opportunity to get him in and give him an opportunity to play a little bit. So excited about getting a chance to see him play.
This is exactly what we're talking about here. Exactly. Lance Hurd may be the second best tackle on your team. He might be. But it's not wise. That was a road game last week. That was a flat road game. You can call it neutral site all you want. It was a flat road game. Last year in New Orleans, neutral site. That game Sunday, road game. Putting a true freshman out there with the possibility of Jared Verse lining up across him, not a good idea. You go with it with the safer play there with Emory Jones. You go with Miles Frazier. You go with Garrett Dellinger. And you play the game that way. In this game, Lance Hurd jumps off sides. Lance Hurd gets a holding penalty. He doesn't hear the snap count, is late firing off and gets beat. Doesn't matter. Let him go play. And we could see this one coming a mile away, right? Because you saw it in the scrimmage. We're out there, the media's there, and you look up and go, oh, Lance Hurd's playing, and they kicked Emory Jones down. That's real-life information we can pull, and that's coming. I don't know if it's going to be in Starkville or not, and this is going to be the dress rehearsal for it. He better be damn good against Grambling. And when I say not even a lick of penetration against an FCS team. But it's something that we're going to be able to look at. And so Kelly elaborated on Lance Hurd and how he compares or contrasts with Emory Jones.
They're a little bit different in the sense that, Emory is a much more suited to probably play multiple positions when he moves on. A guy that could play center, guard, probably get you out of trouble playing tackle at the next level. Lance is a tackle with his length. So they're a little bit different, but I would say that they're very similar in terms of their demeanor, the way they approach things on a day-to-day basis. They're great workers. They're great in the classroom. They take their work very seriously. So I think that there's a lot of traits that are similar that allow freshmen to compete for starting positions. And he's got that kind of makeup. But I think in terms of the physical traits that they bring, there is a little bit of a difference between the two.
LSU's offensive line has to play significantly better next week in Starkville. Mississippi State's got a veteran defense. They're going to start 10 seniors on defense next week when LSU goes there. And if LSU's totally unable to get a yard on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 or 4th and goal, and they're totally unable to establish any kind of ground game with the running backs, they're going to get beat next week. They got to find something on the offense. And if it means Lance Hurd at right tackle and Emory Jones at right guard and moving Miles Frazier out of the game, then that's what it's going to be. But they got to find something. And you've got, from the time you walked off the field in Orlando, 2 weeks to get it done. We're at the halfway point of that. And tomorrow we will see a new look LSU offensive line. Now, once again, you can't tell much positive from playing Grambling. But the coaches will evaluate it. You'll understand how Emory Jones handles guard, and you'll understand how Lance Hurd handles tackle from a communication standpoint, making sure they're in the right place, making sure they can hear the snap count and the call, making sure that they can go out there and work together. But knocking Grambling's 270-pound defensive tackle out of the way, whatever. It's probably what practice is for against the scout team. It's got some of your freshmen on it. But it's a real time change that you can see that may benefit LSU in the long run. Again, they hand the ball off to Logan Diggs and Noah Kane, and they go for 297 yards on the ground. That's not going to bring me into the post-game show after that game and go, well, Mississippi State's in big trouble. This running game is cooking. That's not how that works. But you're going to see a difference on the offensive line, and that was the biggest takeaway from this week thus far in terms of press conferences. Not the psyche of the team, the demeanor, not how well they practice or the energy level or any of that kind of stuff. It's, okay, you determine that you're going to make a change in the starting lineup at some point with Lance Hurd. Now, I did ask earlier today if the expectation is that Lance Hurd will start the game. Right now, that is probably not the expectation. That could certainly change. We've got 30 hours to kick off here, so you may see something different when they do decide to kick it off. But I think you're going to see Emory Jones start at right tackle, and maybe later in the first quarter see the big freshman come in at tackle, and that'll certainly be something to take note of. We still got a lot of Brian Kelly sound that we'll get to throughout the course of our show today. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.